Greetings. In this video, we're taking a look at Dash 1600, the holiday bot on chess.com. A lot of fun. I'm excited to play these bots. And if you're struggling with Dash, I'll show you some things that helped me. Computer said that I played at a 87% and Dash played at a 77%. And it ended after 56 moves. I played the black pieces in this position. And I'll just kind of talk through Dash and some of my strategies, and it helps me to review, and hopefully it'll help the audience too. So, okay, so let's just go through this. Just a pretty standard opening, nothing real creative here. Just try to control the center and get your minor pieces developed and get them out there. That's the big thing in the beginning. One thing, this F file is always under attack, and I wanted to stop the knight coming from here because this bishop is lined up, and so then this is a trouble area. So that's why I pushed this pawn here, just to stop this knight from coming here. Okay, so alright, so I hate to close off my bishop like that, but you know, it's all part of controlling the center, I guess. So okay, let's keep this going. And so you can see I don't always make, you know, great moves and stuff, but that's still good. That's okay. I'm just trying to control the center, you know. Right now that's my main focus. Alright, so a little bit of yin and yang, some exchanging going on there, and I really expected a retreat, and so with this, I like that my opponent has double stacked pawns and the king is exposed here. You know, with Dash 1600, very respectable ELO, I just try to get any kind of advantage that I can in the openings. That's what I like to do, is when I get that last piece out and developed, I want to have some kind of advantage, up a pawn or a double stack pawn, and just kind of go from there. So yeah, here I should have castled. That would have been a lot stronger than just, you know, pushing a pawn up. So that was my mistake. And let's see here. Oh, sorry folks, I am allergic to my own bullcrap sometimes. Okay, so let's get this going. And I was eyeing, you know, owning this diagonal. I like this undefended pawn here, but should have took care of some business first. I always try to castle before the 10th move, and we're at the 12th move right now. So yep, I should have done that. So I always like to analyze my games. It helps me quite a bit. Okay, so there I finally castled, but I did have a free pawn here, and I should have picked that up first. But okay. And here, this is just, yeah, I'm big inaccuracy on my part. I'll tell you something that helps me, why I made this inaccuracy. It would have been best, the computer knows better than I do, but I love to get, if you've seen some other videos, you know, I love to get a major piece with a pawn on top of it, and then I'm all about just pushing it up and promoting it. So, or at least having it to where it causes a lot of trouble. So I jumped the gun here, got a little excited. You know, chess is all about controlling your mind, controlling your thoughts, and forcing yourself to slow down and look at things. And so, yep, should have took a little closer look at that. And there I finally see it. So, okay. So I will tell you, like when I battled Santa, the bot, I think it was this bot before this one, yeah, Santa. Santa doesn't use his pieces together. Still a good bot and a lot of fun. Gotta pay attention, but he doesn't use his pieces. He does not use his pieces together. That was kind of his downfall. Dash, I think, does a very good job of using pieces together, and I'm eyeing an undefended piece. So that's kind of why I went there. Not kind of why I went there, but absolutely why I went there. So it looked like there was no trap or anything, so I went ahead and was just eyeing that piece. And I really didn't want this knight to get here. And here's why. This is one of the big takeaways from battling Dash, is because I didn't want the knight to attack this pawn. Well, it's defended by this queen. Yes, that's true, but I have future ideas coming up pretty quick that involve me using my queen. And I don't want my major piece, a queen, where its job is to protect a pawn that's, my opponent is using a knight to put that threat, and I'm using a queen to respond. So that's the big thing. That ties up a queen for a knight. They're not off the board yet, but in a sense they are. If you think about it like that, it might help you. So the job of your queen is going to be to protect this knight. I'm sorry, to protect this pawn from that knight. I want my queen to be able to start moving around. I want to get her off the back rank here pretty quick and start moving it. So, yeah, please note that this idea of, well, they're not off the board, but if they're tied down, they're not free. So anyway, just I don't want to run my big fat mouth too much about that, but I think you get the idea. So, okay, so make sure your pieces are freed up and not tied down. Okay, so that's why I went ahead and took out this, because I thought normally I'd like to have a bishop, especially if I can have a bishop pair in the end game, but yeah, that knight was going to be too powerful. It's going to cause me too many problems. So that's what I did. Computer agreed. So shoo, okay. So here, this is going to be big problems for me. It did not take, because it says, I want to cause big problems here for you. And I looked at this and I thought about it, and I decided that I think I can deal with this problem. This is pretty deep in my territory. I think I'm going to, get this bishop out of here and try to save the bishop. So the trade-off is, like I said, this whole thing is a game of yin and yang. Is I was able to salvage my piece, but my position here is terrible. I got a big problem on my hands I have to deal with, and it becomes a problem later too. But it's just, what do you want? What do you think's worth it to you? So I'm about to make some pretty good mistakes here. This, and I'll show you. This was just desperation on my part. Like I said, chess is about controlling your mind, controlling your thoughts. I was a little bit panicked. Let's go back a little bit. I was a little bit panicked about this square and this pawn coming down, and it's so far down. So see there, I had it on my mind, and so I thought, I got to stop it from coming down. Yeah, that was not a good move on my part, and it was just because I was panicked about it, really. Okay, so let's keep this going here. Okay, so now I have an undefended pawn, but I want this pawn. So I was prepared if, this queen takes, then I'm going to take this pawn, and the king is definitely exposed now at this point. So that's what I was hoping to exchange, is exchange this pawn, and then this pawn is just isolated anyway. So that was my thinking. Didn't fall for it. Still defending this pawn because it's important. It's in front of the king. And so, Dash is definitely knows what he's doing, I think, in my opinion. Okay, so again, like I said, getting behind a pawn and pushing it with the... You want your major piece behind, usually, all things being equal, you want your major piece underneath your pawn when you try to promote. Sometimes, usually it doesn't work if the major piece is on top of the pawn. You want it the other way around. So, okay, let's keep this going because there's several moves in this game. So there's that pawn. So now I'm trying to get all my pieces over here on this king side and lay down an attack. Okay, and so, all right, now here this is a terrible mistake on my part that I missed, and I'll show it to you. Hopefully it can help you. It helps me. Is I went for this check, and sometimes I get too excited. I go, oh, there's check. Well, I mean, who cares? It doesn't really go anywhere per se. What would have been best, let me show you. So if I would have had the queen sitting here, now I would have owned all this with the queen, and owned this as well. So the king's stuck there, and come in here with the queen, and it's mate. That's it. Game over. And I totally missed that in the game. Totally missed it. Totally missed it. So I guess the takeaway from that is just control your thoughts, and when you find a good move, try to find a better one. And okay, so yeah, here I should have. I made basically the same type of mistake. If I would have pushed this pawn first, then by the time I put my queen here, which I would have done this, king moves here, then I would put my queen here, and this bishop owns all this, and now it can't escape here because I own this. So totally would have been, this would have been over real quick. And there's other ideas. Well, this pawn, let me get those arrows off there before I start running my big fat mouth about something else. So if it would have been take, but I can pop up here with this and then bring this pawn up here, and it's mate again. So twice now I had opportunities to make this a quick game, and I just failed to see it. And I wish I would have seen that in the game. I could look like big man on campus. I'm kidding. Okay, so there's my check, and do a queen exchange, and I went from could have won the game to, okay, yeah, I still look pretty good here. I do have this problem to deal with, but this could have been a lot better. Okay, so I'm trying to promote some pawns here. I do this is yep, there it comes. So this is finally coming here to bite me. So the dark squared bishop is what my opponent has. So I take a mental note of that, and I tell myself, every time I make a move, stay off the dark square, stay off the dark square. And so I do that throughout the whole game. That's always going on in the back of my head when I'm at the end like this and I see that dark squared bishop. I just keep telling myself that over and over. Okay, so now here, I do own this with the bishop. So I wanted to promote this pawn. The queen here, take was my original idea. But I felt like the problem is I've got to, this rook right here can come down here, and I've got to keep these rooks sharp, and I'm going to have to make some kind of material sacrifice or something to deal with this. So I wanted to deal with this situation and go down a path that would take me down that situation, or allow me to go down that situation. So there's check. It has to be dealt with. Okay, so now we got that. And I was expecting a take there, and then I was going to promote this pawn, but okay, he doesn't want to. I can't take this because then there's going to be a queen here. So my opponent will queen. So I have to get my pieces to work together. So there's that. Take. I'm on a light squared, so until one of these pawns come down, which could happen, I have to be mindful of that. I can sit here all day. So I am keeping an eye on this very closely, because one rook cannot stop two pawns coming down, as long as they're not double stacked like this is. But I mean, these two pawns, if they get together, back to their natural state side by side, this rook cannot stop them from queening, not by itself. So I gotta stay sharp here. Okay, so that takes off a little bit of pressure. And again, back to the white square. Now I'm finally free to promote my queen. Okay. And yeah, I thought about that. And there's this, and so I'm now that this is under control because they can't move. I'm on a white square. They're stuck there. My opponent's gonna have to get the king down there to take it out, and he's gonna, I'm not gonna make it easy for him to do that. So now here I mess up. I should totally bring this queen in. King gets out of the way, and then it's boom. Okay. I made this sacrifice, and honestly, I was seeing this pawn, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have 2 queens. And then when I do that, unfortunately, my weakness is I get a little lazy. This bishop's defended. So, yeah, there towards the end game, once I see a win, I don't, I've lost lots of puzzles where I see the end where it's like it's a mate in 3 or something. And it's like, and I see it, and the computer says I got it wrong, and I'm looking, and it's like, oh, it's actually a mate in 2. I missed that. Dang. So, just a weakness that I have. So, and there's mate. So, hopefully those ideas help you with Dash 1600. Very respectable ELO, and definitely gotta stay sharp with Dash and get those pieces out there and use them together and look for little advantages and try to get a major piece underneath the pawn, try to promote it. All right. Thanks for watching and have a great day.